right, we have Facebook up live. Welcome, everyone. So, today we're going to be talking about dealing with crying in the workplace. Now, obviously, there are some workplaces where crying is a normal thing, where it's expected. So, if you are a therapist, more than likely you're going to have a client or two cry during your sessions. If you're a coach, you may have somebody cry during your sessions. If you're a nurse, you will often experience people crying at work. So some workplaces it's fairly normal. It's something that happens quite regularly. Now, if you're working in an office or like I did in transportation and logistics, there was a rule of there's no crying in baseball kind of thing. So um, and I would have to deal, and I've had many male supervisors or managers come up to me because they're like, oh, that person's crying again. I don't know what to do. And sometimes the guys would act like, she's on fire and they're like trying to put her out. And so um, here are some tips and some strategies to help you through the process of um, taking care. There's nobody in the background. I've got two cameras here. I've got one for Facebook and one for TikTok. So if I'm looking over here, I'm talking to my TikTok crowd. If I'm looking here, it's my laptop for Facebook. Hope that helps explain. All right. So if this is your first time joining me, my name is Tina and I'm a happiness coach and I help business owners deal with the emotional side of business. So this definitely is a topic that you guys are going to want to listen to. Okay, so first of all, we need to recognize is the thing about crying is just an indication that there's an enormous overwhelm of emotions. So now people have various tolerances, and the funny thing is I'm getting a lot of talking from someone weird. Okay, is this in the workplace? Okay. So recognize that crying is a signal that somebody is overwhelmed in their emotions. We all have different tolerance levels. Hey, Natasha, welcome. Thank you. Um, so we all have different tolerance levels. Now, some people, and the funny thing is if anybody who would talk to you now, they'd probably say that I'm a crier. But at one time, I was stone cold, and you could not get a tear from me for anything. I had learned to bury my emotions so deeply, and people would tell me things that you should probably cry about, and I would be straight faced, nothing. And that was because I was so numb to my emotions. And then when I did some therapy work, now I actually feel things quite deeply. I acknowledge them instead of ignoring them. So, depending on what things are, it can be something happy and gratitude or joy, or seeing somebody else win at work, and those tears can flow freely. Natasha, you've been working with cancer patients for 17 years. When you see kids still sobbing in silence, of course. And that is one of the hardest things, is because you're in a career that there's going to be crying. You're going to end up having to deal with patients and then having to compartmentalize that. And the effect of that on your energy as well is something that's really important to take care of. So definitely, I hope that you are able to get support, that you have ways to work through those emotions, because that is a heavy burden to bear when you are dealing with cancer patients that are ill. And God bless you. God bless you for the work that you do. It's invaluable. Um, so when we're dealing, I do get support for me. It's needed. Yes, I could definitely see it's needed for sure, right? And that's the thing is, in some careers it's more accepted to get support, but I think truly all leaders require support, and so often we're left, they say it's lonely at the top for a reason, right? Whether you're a business owner or whether you're a supervisor or a manager or a VP, whatever it is, Oftentimes we feel like we can't express our emotions, that we have to stuff them down, and that starts racking up an emotional credit card, and the debt does come due. And so, if you're not paying attention to these and you're not able to process these in a fast way that you can get through them without having too much of an overwhelm, that you understand what's going on, and know that the second thing is oftentimes when somebody in front of you is crying, it's most of the time, not all of the time, especially not in Natasha's case, it's an 80-20 rule. 80% is stuff that is coming up from the past for this person. It could be additional narratives that are going on in their mind. Maybe this situation, maybe you're trying to uh, correct somebody with something that they've done at work that's not appropriate, or that you want them to change something and they get upset by it. They get defensive, they start to cry, they feel like they're a failure, and you're just like, oh my God, all I wanted to do was tell you you did this one little thing wrong, and if you fix this, everything will be fine. And I used to be that hard ass kind of leader where I would get upset if somebody else got upset. And so now I know enough, because I know how to regulate my own emotions. I can give space for my own emotions. I have a very big capacity for other people's emotions, and to be able to hold space for them in a way that allows them their feelings, where I don't have to feel like I have to shut that down right away. And so consequently, a lot of times people feel safe when they open up to me and they sense that. So being a leader that can be empathetic and provide space is just an indicator that you've done your own work, that you've understood where your pains, your problems, your challenges have come from, and how to keep yourself safe with those, and to allow space for your own feelings. When you can do that for yourself, you're much more able to do that for other people as well. So this brings me to the third point, is that if you find that somebody else is crying causes you to feel uncomfortable, then you need to ask yourself why. Why is it that somebody else crying, somebody else being overwhelmed by emotions causes you to want to shut that down? Usually that is because if it's like, if you start crying, I'm going to start crying, kind of thing, right? So you want to be able to understand where your emotions are coming from and how to deal with those, and that will allow you to have more space. So if you're in a profession like Natasha is, where you're going to be dealing with some hard stuff that'll bring up things for you, especially if you're in like a high service industry, like being a firefighter or an ambulance driver, police, you're going to have stuff that happens that is going to affect you emotionally. And yes, over time you develop a thicker skin and a twisted sense of humor in order to deal with some of these very difficult challenges that you have to deal with on a regular basis, right? And I think all professions have these things, challenges that we deal with, that are frustrating, that are emotional, that are overwhelming, annoying, whatever it is. And like, we used to joke, it's like, if you don't laugh, you'll cry, right? So we joke around sometimes that way. And that is a good way to deflect or diffuse. But at the same time, you will still need to look at what that has brought up for you, what challenges and what emotions. If you process those in a healthy way, then you are going to be able to show up healthier for your team and your company. Okay? Um, and when you are dealing with somebody, so I would do performance reviews. And when I did those performance reviews, depending on who it was, I knew always have a box of Kleenex. I would provide reassurance. I would have to be extra patient. I'd allot extra time, because I know this person would be very emotional, even when I was being extremely gentle with this person. And what you have to remember is sometimes somebody's reaction to you is really got nothing to do with you or how you're delivering it. Although that does matter, because if you deliver it harshly, of course, that's going to, even if there wasn't something there, that might start creating some damage, right? So, depending on what people's experiences are, depending on what they've been through, you don't know if they had a fight with their spouse the day before. You don't know if they're worried about a sick family member. There's all kinds of things. Maybe they're having stress at home that, when you go to tell them the thing that they need to change at work, then that could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And it just happens that they let it all out in your office when you're trying to do a performance review. And so being patient and understanding and knowing what's going on, and no, you don't have to be a therapist. You can make sure that you're aware of any EAP, employee assistance programs that you may have, any other resources that might be available, so that you are offering support to the employee without being the one that has to take that on. Okay? Um, so when they're in this state too, give space for their emotions, reassure them, let them know it's okay, it's perfectly normal for you to feel this. It's pretty overwhelming what you're going through, and see if you can encourage them to articulate or communicate what it is that they're struggling with, what's going on with them, so that you can seek to understand. And then you can, once you understand a little bit better, you can provide some resources. And even if you're not sure of what the resources are, you can say, hey, I'm going to look in to see what we have available for you, and I'll get back to you. And if your company doesn't have something for them, maybe there's some local resources that are free that you can search or do something. You can maybe refer them to my happiness podcast or YouTube channel, Coach Tina B125. So if they're struggling with their emotions, if they have particular things, they can come on the live and ask questions. And even if they're not comfortable asking the questions during the live, if you send me a message about something that you're dealing with, I will do a free training to help somebody with that, because I am sure you're not the only person that has gone through that, and I'm more than happy to create a training so that we can help everybody get to a happier place. So the fifth thing is, when you know that you're dealing with somebody that is more on the sensitive side, they're a little bit more emotional, they take things very hard. I'm looking at one right now. So if you have one of those kind of people, what you're going to do is you're going to allow them processing time. So if you can start seeding the information that you will be talking with them about, so they don't feel blindsided by it, that helps. If you know that they're going to be reactive, allow them to have the reaction. Give them the space and the respect to know that they will be able to work through that. Give them the reassurance that you still believe in them, that you still know that they'll be able to get through this, that you know that they'll be able to correct whatever it is that you're wanting them to correct. Give them clear, distinct instructions, and try the sandwich method as well. So you give positive feedback, give the change feedback that you want in the center, and then layer that with another piece of bread, and positive sandwich. Okay, so you want to try those things if you're dealing with somebody who is extra sensitive. Okay. And then the last one, I don't see this too often. This is usually younger kids or teenagers or something like that, but it's the manipulative crying. Okay, the one that will cry so that they can get their way, that they're not really upset, but they're pretending to be upset. Those ones, that's a little bit different. So that may take a couple of times before you kind of catch on. Because you can't assume that just because somebody's crying, they're being manipulative about it. Now, your energy may pick up on that, and so trust your instincts if you feel that's the case. But what you'll need to do in that case is you need to understand that that person has a learned behavior, that this is something that they do in order to get their way. So you may feel like they're manipulating, but this is their attempt at trying to get what it is that they want. So you will need to not give that behavior the attention and instead provide alternative methods for them to get the same result that they're looking for without the crying, without the manipulative crocodile tears, right? Because if they see that works, they will use it again and again and again, and then you'll be stuck feeling guilty all the time, followed up by feeling resentful because you'll give in and then you'll be resentful. So, what you'll want to do is reinforce the behavior that you want, show them that they can get their needs met in a way without manipulation and in a way without manipulative tears. And when they see that that pathway, if they communicate in this way and they communicate in a positive way and they ask for what it is they want, I know it sounds like parenting, right? And sadly, some parents don't do a very good job, and you end up having to make up for that shortfall in the workplace. So, whether we like it or not, we will have to deal with challenging behavior and learning to deal with that in an effective way and to redirect the behavior into a way that is positive and you give that positive reinforcement rather than giving in to temper tantrums, manipulative tears, right? So you definitely want to focus on the correct behavior. And like I said, don't always assume just because somebody is crying that they're automatically being manipulative, because if that is the automatic reaction you have to somebody crying, then again, that is something that you need to look a little bit deeper into your own past of where in the past have you been manipulated by somebody else's tears, that you gave in and then they betrayed you for something, and then that causes all kinds of emotions to come up for you. So when you process that, you're now going to be at a place where you're going to be immune to those manipulative tears, and you'll be able to tell the difference of genuine authentic tears, which are either because of an overwhelming emotion of pain and sadness or frustration or anxiety, something like that. So negative emotions, but tears can also come from positive emotions. I know there were quite a few times where I've given performance reviews and I've had the people cry in my office because they're like, "Oh my God, Tina, I have never had such a good performance review. You're so kind, you're so nice," and and I'm like, "What are you talking about? I gave you like bare minimum kind of thing." But sometimes what'll happen is when people start to get their needs met that they weren't used to being treated kindly, that'll bring up a huge amount of overwhelming emotions, some positive, some negative, because the positive is they're finally getting recognized, they're finally getting fair treatment and respect and kindness. And if they haven't received that before, especially if they haven't received that for a long time, it's going to bring up the pain of all those past situations where they should have been treated with kindness and respect and nurtured and encouraged, right? So be aware that even when you're a good leader and you're doing all the right things and you're emotionally intelligent and you're empathetic and you're structuring things in a way that fosters an environment where people can actually grow, even when you do that, you're going to end up dealing with people that are going to cry from that because there have been so many times that they've been treated so poorly that it's like hypothermia, right? It's like throwing hot water on somebody who's gone through hypothermia. That is going to be extremely painful to them. So knowing how to deal with that, how to process that in a way that is slower and at a pace that they can accept and receive is going to be something that will help you and help them in the long run. So, yeah, so this is the training for today. I hope you guys found this helpful. If you came in a little bit late and you want to catch the replay, go to my YouTube channel, which is Coach Tina B 125. Make sure you click on subscribe, and you'll get notified when I upload this replay. Okay? Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day. Bye.